These are Corona times, and communication patterns have shifted this year. Now we rely so much more on online communication, remote work, text, voice, and now our cameras, that we need to be mindful about a new set of skills that we're going to be needing in Corona times. I'm Gabriela Mueller Mendoza, communications coach, trainer, international speaker, and today your online coach. Let's start. Let's start with listening skills. I know everybody has told you that listening skills are important, though let's be quite honest, most people listen in order for them to respond or to react with different arguments. Now it's the time to really listen to understand. In COVID-19 times in which we rely so much on these platforms, it is key to remember that people will know whether they're seen, heard, and valued by the amount and quality of your listening skills online. So these are the things that I want you to keep in mind in your next online meeting or even face-to-face. 1. Focus completely on the person you are talking to. People can actually notice when you're not fully engaged. And let's be quite honest, multitasking doesn't make really good friend when you try to listen to other people actively. You want to briefly summarize what you heard. Especially in online meetings, this is going to be a golden nugget for you. Make sure that you summarize and you always end with a question. Did I understand correctly? This is for you and for your stakeholders to increase clarification and decrease misunderstandings and conflict. You also want to use notes. Of course, you don't have to rely all the time on your memory. You want to do that so that when you have to summarize and clarify meaning, you want to do this and make sure that you get everything that you need, especially if you are using this in distributed teams and multicultural groups. The last one I want you to notice is that your verbal cues and the verbal cues of your stakeholders are going to be even more important today. For example, your facial expression. Even in online meetings, even your energy on the phone, only with the voice, it will transmit how engaged, excited, or fully present you are in a meeting. So I want you to consider this because in the past, perhaps it was a nice to have, and today is an essential factor. So you want to match your message with your energy, your facial expression, and finally your hands and your gestures. I recommend you also to consider across cultures a little smile. The smile is the bridge between two people, and in today's world, especially when we're doing remote work, it's going to be essential to tell your people, yes, you are competent and likable, they are in good hands, and you're going to increase the level of trust and trustworthiness so that you can get better results more often and with less trouble with your teams. The next one is the handshake. I know, it's gone, and it'll be gone for a while in most cultures, in most latitudes, before it gets back. And it used to have a very specific function. It could be the confirmation of two things that people thought of you when they met you, especially for the first time. 1, is this person confident, competent, and solid? That was one of the things that you would confirm with a handshake. And 2, is this person likable? Am I going to enjoy working with her? So, given by the verbal and nonverbal cues, the handshake used to confirm that little factor at the end. Now it's gone. Except that the two questions remain. Is this person competent and likable? So here's what I want you to think about, those first encounters and what to do with your hands if you are the type of person who really doesn't want to give a handshake in Corona times. The first one is being mindful about what the other ones prefer when they meet you and the distance that they need in order for them to feel comfortable and safe. For example, some people might be okay with a high five or maybe saying hello with the elbow. Some other people might want us to really take distance for them to feel safe and comfortable. So what you want to do is you make sure that in the first week back in the office, you communicate what your preference is and be mindful about the preference of others. The second thing is that in order for you to avoid these awkward moments of leaving people maybe hanging out with a handshake that they're not going to get from you, is you might want to express it with your gestures and hands. For example, you might do something like this. Hey, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. Please take a seat. What you're doing is you're saying, my hands are not going to give you a handshake today. Or, for example, hi, my name is Gabriela Mueller. Welcome. And what I'm saying and signalizing by me keeping my hand here away from it is, I'm happy to see you. I'm sounding confident. I'm giving you the smile. Yet, I'm not going to give you a handshake, and I'm letting you know as we are meeting so that you are not left out there with that awkward greeting. The last tip for you is based on a communication model that is going to save you tears and sweat with your teams and even your loved ones if you want to run this exercise with them. It's based on science, and especially these days in which a lot of people are experiencing online fatigue. We, as leaders, need to be mindful about how we can communicate even if we're using online communication, and in the future now, more and more back to face-to-face contacts in the office. It's called VAK, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Those are 3 channels that we all use in order for us to acquire communication or transmit information. And guess what? Everybody has their own preferred channel. The question is, which one is yours and which one is your team's, so that you can communicate better, increase the level of buy-in, and reduce the level of resistance. Okay, let's start. Visual people. They need to see the information represented in a very easy visual way for them to understand, and also this is the way they communicate and pass on information to others. They love forms, colors, graphs, anything that is beautifully represented. It's going to be easier for them to understand it. These are people who might be caught in meetings, maybe drawing, doodling, making graphs, taking notes. They love to visualize the information for them to remember it. So they might even be, for example, the kind of person or stakeholder who sends you an email and expects you to read it. So you might be mindful about this one if you notice that they need this information channel. The next one is auditory. These are people who need to listen to the information, they need to speak, they need to be able to process it in a way that is more oral. So these stakeholders might be the ones that say, don't send me the email or the attachment, call me and tell me about it. So instead of you being frustrated about the fact that they're not reading your emails, just give them a call. They love stories, they're really good listeners. Use this channel if you want their approval and their buy-in. And finally, kinesthetic people. These are people who really need to move in order for them to learn information and also pass it on. Now, this pandemic year has been especially hard for these kinesthetic people. These are action-oriented people. They need to move, they need to use their physicality in order for them to learn and communicate. Why? Because they have been maybe stuck with long telephone calls or moments in which online they're not really able to stand. So if you have those team members in your team, you might want to ask them to really stand up or have meetings that everybody is standing up. They'll be thankful for that. You can also use, even online, objects and tri-dimensional stimulus for them to be engaged and fully present. How do you know what is your typology and the typology in your team? Easy. I want you to click on the link below. We are sharing a free online test. It has about 20-30 questions for you to answer, and please run this exercise not only with your teams but also with your loved ones. It's going to save you tears and sweat and time. Having said that, I leave you with that. I'm again Gabriela Mueller-Mendoza, your communications coach, trainer, international speaker, and online trainer for you today. I want you to have these new tips, tactics, and strategies to communicate better in these Corona times. You can check out any of the social media channels and definitely our website, gabrielamueller.com. Let's stay connected.